Hey everyone, this is my brother Michael.
My brother Adam.
We're the Sharp Brothers.
You're listening to Mentoring for the Modern Musician.
Hey everyone.
Hey everyone.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of Mentoring for the Modern Musician.
Very excited to have all of you guys.
As always,
joining us and
Yes.
listening to be mentored
Yeah,
and to be modern,
exactly.
to be musicians.
Hey, and for those of you just joining us, who you've just discovered us,
Yes.
you know, at some point dig into that backlog.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Right?
This is episode. We're in the 90s.
We're in the
high
90s somewhere.
98
Quickly
maybe.
approaching 100.
We are. I mean, not age-wise. Although we would sound amazing if we sound like this when we're 100.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a goal.
That's a goal. It's a long-term goal.
It's
there.
long. It's a long game.
It's
right
long
there.
game. Hey, we're always
There it is
we're
right
always
there.
preaching the long game. Sound like this when you're 100.
Absolutely. It's all about that.
So, but yeah. So if you are new, subscribe or download on whatever platform you
Yeah.
listen to podcasts. And there's a big, massive backlog of cool, free, wonderful, in-depth information to help you have a better career and have a better life.
Yeah.
Have a better life.
Yes.
Emphasis on have a better life. Right? Like the career part.
Right.
You're doing it.
A little less confusion,
Yeah.
a little less searching around for now what,
A little less feeling lonely.
a little less feeling lonely.
You touring?
Oh man, so
Sick of
important.
listening to music.
Exactly.
You're like, I can't listen to one more record.
I'm done.
Podcasts, baby.
Yeah,
That's the way to do
absolutely.
it. That's how you don't feel alone.
Exactly. And again, as always, in the show notes, there's a link to how to get a hold of us.
Yes.
If you have any any ideas that you want us to cover.
Yeah.
Or comments or corrections.
Corrections?
Love the corrections.
Yep. If we,
Because we're not perfect.
No.
We
Hey,
say it wrong sometimes.
We say it wrong.
And we're always looking for that exceptional story.
Yeah.
Of how it didn't work that way for you and
Right.
you were successful.
right, that you just got discovered
Right.
in a coffee shop, first gig, and then you've sold 1 million records. If that is you, please reach out.
Absolutely.
Because we want to talk about the exception
Yeah, we do.
as well as the rules.
Exactly.
So-
There is. I think we actually did a podcast on the exception that proves the rule.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So,
We've done podcasts on everything, baby.
well, hopefully not everything yet. We
got it all.
I'm not ready to stop.
No.
So
No,
let's
we
keep
got
going.
plenty. We got plenty.
So
to talk
today, on the episode where it's you saw that it's called Same.
Same. Which I want you to hear as if Mr. Miyagi,
Right.
the modern day thought leader,
Right. The cutting edge, modern day
thought leader, philosophical, brilliant man,
Exactly.
Zen guy,
Master.
from Karate Kid,
From Karate Kid.
as he would say to Daniel-san. Same.
Same.
And what he meant was, it's all the same stuff. So, like, if
Right.
teaching Daniel how to paint the fence,
Right.
or wax the car, wax on, wax off,
Exactly. And so,
that's just like fighting.
right. And so, how does that translate to what we're talking about?
Exactly.
Well,
That's a neat thing, Michael.
right.
But what he's
But what are you talking about?
what he's saying?
Exactly. What are you talking about?
What does that mean to me?
So, how that translates to this is, and you've been saying this for decades. What is true for your life is true for your musical career, and what is true in your musical career is true for your life.
Exactly. It's so funny. I started saying that to guitar students probably 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's why I meant decades. I'm not kidding.
And what I meant by that when I would say it with guitar students, which certainly translates to us in our music career in the bigger picture, is, look, whatever your issue is as a dude or a dudette
Yeah.
in your life,
Yeah.
that will be your issue as a guitar player.
Right. So let's say that I procrastinate.
Yes. Then you will be a procrastinator as a guitar player. Let's say you've got
Right.
low self-esteem.
I'm gonna have low self-esteem.
You're going to have low self-esteem about your guitar playing. Let's say you're a little bit of an egomaniac. I know that's strange to hear artists
About a musician?
about a guitar player, particularly. Then it means you'll be a little bit of an egomaniac in your guitar playing. But what's cool is the things that you work on in your guitar playing, in your music career, in this situation, because you have to, because it matters to you, and you
Right.
notice, all right, this isn't working, I need to do this.
Right.
As you work on them in your guitar playing, in your bass playing, in your singing, in your music career, in your gigging, whatever it is,
Songwriting, touring.
they get better. That part of you, that character defect or character asset, gets better in your life. I don't know why it works that way.
Right.
But as you work on it in your guitar playing, in your career, it gets better in your life. So the example I usually use is I have a lazy guy that lives inside me,
Yes.
right? I thought it would go away. I think it is safe to say he's not going away.
Which is really funny because if anybody who ever gets to know you would say that you're one of the hardest working people that they
Yes.
know, always.
Yes, and
So
sure.
it is always a shock for them to hear you describe yourself as having this lazy guy
who lives within
who
inside
lives
me.
within you because
And what I've learned to do is just not listen to him.
right.
And this is do you have a lazy guy inside? Here's how you know. Have you ever, at some point in your life, when you were a kid maybe, thrown your dirty socks at the clothes hamper, missed, and walked away?
And not got up to pick them up.
Right? If you have a lazy guy. Have you ever finished up your mac and cheese and left your plate in the living room where you were watching Netflix and went to bed? Then you have a lazy guy that lives inside.
Right. Oh, you went to bed. Did you say that? And it makes me uncomfortable.
Right?
Really
Right?
makes me uncomfortable.
Because you don't let that guy win.
No, I don't.
Right? So,
Yeah.
But if that is somebody that you've got, if that's in there somewhere, it will come out in
Right.
different places in your career.
Yeah.
That's why same.
Yes.
Right? And what's nice about knowing about that is not to beat yourself up,
Mm-hmm.
but to notice, okay, I'm doing that thing.
Right.
All right, so when I do that thing, I'm going to blah.
Yes.
Right? So this usually comes out with guitar students with scale modes. They don't want to do scale modes. Right? All right,
Right.
well, do your scale modes.
Yeah.
That's the solution.
Right.
Right.
No, I know vocal students don't want to practice their breathing
Right,
either.
right.
They don't want to do the breathing exercises.
Because it's the thing, but you have to.
Well, you don't have to.
You don't have to be a good singer.
You don't have to. You don't
don't
have
have
to learn breath control. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't have to increase your range.
Hey, you
You-
could feel low self-esteem every time anybody asks you anything you're doing with your guitar or your singing or
Sure.
your touring or your songwriting or your
Yeah.
just feel bad and get annoyed and be obnoxious,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
Lash out at them
Right.
like a prima donna,
Yeah.
right? Or you could notice that it's something that you're doing and just do the work that you know needs being done.
Right.
And now by doing that, what happens is you're learning how to deal with you. And as you learn how to deal with you and your character defects in your music, you are, without your own permission, without any extra work, learning how to deal with yourself.
I love how you put that. No, there's no extra work.
There's no extra work here.
No extra work involved.
Learning how to deal with yourself, right?
Right.
So the thing I joke about
Yeah.
is that, because I also procrastinate. In high school, I was king procrastinator.
Right.
I would never write a paper until the night before it was due, ever. And I'd stress out,
Right.
Right.
Sure.
I learned how to deal with that because there were things I couldn't do that with my guitar playing. My guitar playing mattered to me, and so I jokingly say I learned how to go to the dump by practicing my scale modes.
Yeah.
Right? Because I wouldn't let myself push off the thing with my guitar playing that I knew needed being done. I would stay with it and
Right.
do it, even when I didn't want to.
Right.
Which means when I have to bring the recycling to the dump, I don't want to.
Right. But
So
you do it anyway.
The second I don't want to,
You get up and go do it.
I go get the stuff and
Right.
bring it out, right?
Right.
So I literally have learned to be a better person, a better human
Yeah.
by doing scale modes.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
So as you apply that to your career,
Mm-hmm.
the emails you don't want to send because you're afraid of how the club owner is going to react to you.
Yeah.
Or it's the 8th time you've done it, and instead of
get back to me anyway.
instead of sitting in there and
Yeah.
letting your low self-esteem start riling you up and
Mm-hmm.
rolling into it, open your computer,
Just do it.
get on your phone,
Right.
send the email, send the text, whatever.
So it occurs to me that a couple of things that can combat that more easily than just trying to sort of existentially change who you are.
Right, will your way through it. Right,
So one of the big things that we talk about a lot is scheduling out your time.
yes,
Right. So remembering that that you're a business owner,
yep,
right? That you work for yourself.
yep,
Knowing that part of what that is going to entail is that you need to be doing a lot of stuff.
yeah,
You're a business owner. There's a lot of things that go
Yeah.
into owning a business,
tons of stuff,
right?
Tons of stuff.
And so one of the things that becomes really important is to make sure that you schedule out times to do these tasks.
Yes.
Because otherwise, 12 tasks feels like 1,200 tasks,
yes.
right?
Yes.
Instead of breaking them into little hour or 2 hour increments,
Exactly.
right? What happens is you're like, I can't get all this stuff done today.
And you
Right.
look at the giant list of all the things that need to be done. It's way too much to get done today. I'm not going to do anything.
Right.
I'm going to sit here and be sad.
And so one of the ways to combat that is to treat it like you did when you were in school.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
Or depending on what kind of job you have, right?
Right.
If you got to, if you're one of the many, many, many musicians who needs to have a day gig,
Exactly.
right? You know that you had to show up to school at 7:30 or 8:30 or whenever your school started, and that you were going to be there until 2:30 or 3:30.
You got to show up at work at 8:30, and you are going to be able to take off for lunch, but you got to leave.
Right.
You're not going to leave before 4:30 or 5.
And you knew when you were in school that you had these 5 or 6 classes that you had to go to,
Yeah.
right? And that,
And
when you had gym, you had to bring gym clothes.
I'll bet you were capable of doing it,
Right.
and it wasn't that big a deal.
Right. And you just sort of did it,
Right.
right?
Treat your career the same way.
If you block off, all right, so, 12 to 1, Monday, Wednesday, Friday is my heavy duty socials time, right? I'm going to dive in and I'm going to comment on these
Yes.
other people's posts that I really like, and I'm going to make sure that I do, right? And that every day, from 9:15 to 9:30, I'm going to add to my story, right? Or I'm going to do a live
Right,
feed,
right,
or
right.
I'm going to, right? You're going to just, right?
And then when it pops up, do it.
Right.
Put a reminder in your calendar.
Right.
When your calendar reminds you about it, do it immediately.
Pick up your phone, start doing it.
Don't let yourself win. Don't let the lazy guy or lazy woman inside of you win.
Exactly. So, and then one of the things that's going to be likely to happen is, new stuff's going to come up,
Oh, yeah.
right? And one of the things that if we're going with your lazy guy that you have inside,
Yes.
one of the things for me
Yep.
is I don't really do well with things that aren't planned,
Gotcha.
right?
Gotcha. So you like
So-
to see it. This is, you
not
know
that
what
I,
you're
not
doing.
that I can't be spontaneous. I can
You-
absolutely be spontaneous.
You pivot well.
I do pivot well.
You pivot very well.
I can be spontaneous. What I'm talking about is someone says, "Oh, hey, I just got 2 backstage tickets to that band that you love, and we can meet their tour manager. I know you've been wanting to talk to their tour manager." My immediate response to that is always, "No,
I don't want to do that.
I don't want to. I don't want to do that. That's not on my schedule for tonight. I was going to go home tonight. It's there's the the new shows on Netflix. I was going to watch Eddie Murphy on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee.
I still have episode 8 left of Stranger Things.
Exactly.
I gotta finish that up.
So, one of the things that I did to trick myself out of that immediate response was, I would say, "Let me think about it.
Okay.
I'll get back to you.
Yeah. Hey, that sounds like a cool idea. Let me
Let me get back to
Let
see
me get right
what.
back to you.
I'll hit you right back up. I'm just going to see if I can free up my schedule."
Yeah.
Right. So then, what I do, the minute I say that, the little kid in me that's going, "I don't wanna," I see it as a toddler saying, "I don't wanna."
Yeah.
And I go, "Yeah, you're an adult.
Right.
This is your job.
It's funny that
Go and do this."
you have the little kid inside you. My guy is probably like 7, and he's missing a tooth or 2, and he just goes, "No."
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's not rational.
That's not how it goes.
And
Exactly.
you're not 7.
Exactly.
So
yeah, mine's anywhere from 4 to 12, because 12 you're a little angsty about
yeah,
it.
right.
It's like,
You think you're Johnny Cash.
oh, you totally do.
Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
exactly.
But you're not. You're Billy Corgan.
Exactly.
Sorry, Billy.
Sorry, Billy.
But sometimes you appear to me to be like an angsty teenager.
He may not be.
He sounds
But-
very nice. Very
But
nice
so
guy. Talented.
So the point being is, it's another example of what you're talking about, which is I started doing that in my personal life.
Yes.
And what I noticed was I started doing it in my professional life too,
Oh, interesting.
just because it became part of my Quan.
Yeah,
Part of
the whole
The
picture.
whole picture of who
That's
I
great.
am
That's a great way to say.
is
so
when
that,
I don't want to do something.
yes,
I don't say no.
right,
I say, you know what? I'll get back to you on that. Let me think about it.
yeah,
Or whatever the professional
right, yeah, probably not.
version
Let
of
me
that.
think about it.
Right? It's the professional version
that
of
would
it
sound
is.
like, oh, I don't know, let
right.
me
The
think
professional version of that is, let me check my schedule.
Yeah, let me get back to you and check my schedule. Thank you.
Wow, that's a really generous offer. You know me.
That's a great. I like you bringing it in that way too, because you're talking about. I was presenting it as this is what happens in your career, and it's going to make yourself do it in your career because you don't need to,
Right.
and it actually makes you a better person. You're talking about separately from that, as you're trying to be a better person.
Yeah.
Hey, why don't we bring some of those skills that are making you a better person into your professional life?
Well, and even more so, yes, and
Yes, and
even more so, I don't even think about it when I'm doing it in my professional life because I started doing it in my personal life.
oh, beautiful.
So same.
Yeah.
What
Well,
is
and that-
true in
yes.
each is true in the other, and when you address it in one or the other,
Yeah.
it will bleed over into each of them.
It's really interesting, and that's a good. Stop separating your career and your personal life.
Right. Exactly.
Don't. They're not different.
They're not.
And this is why we say the awful thing that we say about don't have kids, don't have a family, right? Not even that we mean forever,
Right.
or that we mean it's just that if you have kids and have a family, that should be the priority.
Well,
Those are humans, man,
right.
that deserve your not demand your attention,
Right.
Appropriately so, right?
Yes.
And a career, if you're going to have it,
Demands that.
is the priority.
It demands that of you.
And if it's not the priority, it falls into its appropriate place on your list.
Right. And we'll have that amount of
Feet like blowback or response or
success.
success.
It'll have
right?
that much success.
If it's third on your list,
Right.
you might, sound pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can do those 10 songs pretty well.
and you might
Right.
do some gigs, and
Yeah.
you may even have some people that think your stuff is cool,
For sure.
right? But it's certainly not going to be the career you're picturing.
Well, and again, remember the other thing that you're adding when you're adding people who you are responsible for is a financial responsibility.
Yeah,
And
no, true.
the last thing that you want to be worrying about when you are beginning a career or you are ascending in a career,
In a music
entertainment
career.
in
Right.
an entertainment career, exactly. Like in an entertainment career.
and it's a hard
That's a
thing to
hard
say.
thing to say real
It
fast.
is.
Try that real fast.
In an entertainment career.
In an entertainment career.
Hey, there's more letters in there.
Yeah, it kind of sounds like you've been drinking a little bit.
That's
In an entertainment career. That's my career.
That
That's an
used to be-
entertainment career.
That used to be really funny
Yeah.
years ago, you guys. I know you're offended by that right now, but that making fun of drunk people used to be a staple
Yeah, well,
in comedy acts.
it kind of still is
It's
occasionally.
sometimes
But in that career, in that entertainment career,
you can't start with I gotta make money,
right.
because if you do, you're just
Well, I can't take that tour. It's going to cost me money.
right,
Yeah, it probably will.
right. But it's going to be a great career move.
Right.
I know, but
Yeah, but if I'm gone that long, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to pay my rent.
and I probably I don't think my job will give me the time off. And all right, well now
Which one's your priority?
that means that your priority is not losing your job, which as a human,
Is a great priority.
it's a great priority.
It really is.
Right?
Right.
That's wow.
Well,
You're-
and as a significant other, or especially as a parent,
parent or a provider,
right?
yeah, you ought to be thinking that, right? But here's the thing: if your career is what you want to have be your priority,
Yeah.
you can't be coming at it from that place first.
Right.
Which is why melding your career and your personal life,
Right.
if you're
Same.
at the beginning of your career, if you're at a transitional point in your career, that's a great thing to do, because that means you're going to be hanging out with people in the industry. You're going to be hanging out with people who are musicians. You'll be maybe more co-writes now. People in the
right.
industry know who you
Right.
are. They
Yes.
know how talented you are. Wow, this is a great. We should put him on this tour. We should put her in this recording session. We should, right?
Hey, aren't we traveling through Brooklyn?
Oh man, you know who we got to get on that bill?
Yeah, we got to get so and so on the bill.
Right.
Love them.
Because you know them, and your personal life and your career were one and the same, and you went out for drinks with people after the show, and you went out to dinner with them, and you came to see them at their
Like
show.
you were
and,
a great hang, and you had great stuff to say about their show, and
you saw them post
made
a
all
funny
these-
thing on Instagram, and you commented on it, and they remember you.
and you've DM'd back and forth a couple of times, and
because that's what people do, because they're humans and they like each other.
right,
And that's what they call networking.
right.
Right?
It's not a separate thing from having friendships.
I need to network so that I know people. No, you need to know people.
Right.
Period. Next sentence. In your career, the people that you know
Right.
will be the ones that have the opportunities for you.
You know, it's such a great point that you talk about that, Adam, because this is one of those misunderstandings about networking and relationships in most industries, not just not just the music industry.
Right.
Right? You meet these people and you're like, man, they're so great at networking. Well, why?
Right.
Well, because it's real.
Because they're actually asking you about yourself and
They remember your name, and they
Right.
remember that what your dog's name is, and that you have kids, and that you, right? They remember, in the industry, they remember the guitar that you were playing last time
Right.
you were through, and they remember that conversation that you had about, how you didn't, you had that weird gig in Tulsa, and
Right. Hey, did you figure out what was going on with your amp there? It had that weird funky tube thing, and
Right.
not because they're trying to get something from you, but because they had an actual conversation with you and they were paying attention.
Right.
So
and those are the people that you're going to remember.
Right.
Right. And so if we're sticking with this theme of what's true in your life is true in your career, and what's true in your career is true in your life, if you are authentically trying to connect with people,
Great point.
right, you will authentically connect with people both in your career and in your life. And we've talked about this before, that if you're going to be a musician, your friends are probably going to be musicians
And people in the music industry.
and people in the industry.
Yeah. And, you're going to have to tour.
Right.
Do you like the idea of what that looks like?
Yeah.
You like being on the road?
Right.
Try it out for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If you like it, that's a great career for you.
Fantastic.
If you don't like it, maybe there's some other kinds of parts of the industry you want to be in,
Yeah.
right?
Right. It's a big industry. It still needs lots of different
All
people,
kinds of
lots of
different
different
people.
moving parts, and
Yeah.
you can still perform.
Yes.
Even if you're not doing the same thing that you were doing before.
Yes. If what we're saying here makes you sad and or angry and or want to punch us, then yeah, you're probably a musician. You're going to need to tour, and then that's great. And we're not telling you not to tour. We're not telling you don't. We're just saying be purposeful about it. Like
Right.
do this stuff on purpose. Pay attention. Be part of your own career. Be part of your own life.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not separate things. It's a symbiotic relationship.
Right.
Your career, your life, who you are as a person, who you are as an artist.
Right.
What does everybody always react to artistically? Authenticity.
Yeah.
Something real, something that touches them, something that strikes a chord.
Mm-hmm.
People are always touted as artists that are real
Well, yeah.
because they're real,
Yeah.
because they're not putting it on.
Exactly.
Right? And you got to believe in that. You got to believe in the realness of you.
Right.
And there isn't a separation between you, the artist.
It's a great point. And what's funny is what leaps to mind immediately, of course, for me then is styles of music.
Okay?
Right? So, Black Flag was just as authentic as Steely Dan.
Yes. Right.
Right?
Right.
They're just both being themselves authentically musically.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
The Velvet Underground
Yes.
were as authentic as Lady Gaga.
Yes.
That's right. I just used them in the same sentence.
But absolutely.
But they're a real thing. They're something that is Billie Eilish. If you guys have not
Yeah.
heard of Billie Eilish, I don't know what kind of rock you've been living under. You should check out Billie Eilish. But one of the reasons that people react to her, I think, people react to her so strongly and why they love her so much, is she's authentic.
Mm-hmm.
She's got this. She's like 17, and she's a 17-year-old. She's like,
Yeah.
got her fashion's cool and it's a thing, and she's annoyed by things that she should be annoyed by as a 17-year-old. And if you listen to her voice, it's clear and beautiful and wonderful and real and authentic.
Mm-hmm.
And her songs are engaging and deep and well constructed. And
Yeah.
it's some real stuff, man.
Yeah.
And when it's real, people react to it. right? So don't try to be Billie Eilish if you're 17 or 18 or 19 or 20. Try to engage in your art in the way that she engages in hers.
Right.
That's the thing to take from,
Yeah.
is what's your authentic
Yeah.
thing.
Right. Whether you're Tyler, the Creator,
Right.
or, Ed Sheeran, or J Balvin,
Yeah. Right.
or Anita,
Right.
or Lizzo,
Yep.
right?
Right.
It is about who you are as a person and bringing that to your music.
Right. And that's what people react to, because people
Right.
want something that's real. People
Yeah.
want something to grab onto.
Right. And that's why we're always talking about being reflective
Right.
about what you look like and what you
Yeah.
sound like.
Yes.
And how you move through the day and how you interact with people. And
Boy, that's a great point, Michael, because it's very easy to hear us talking about that and think that that's shallow.
right.
That the idea of
Right.
talking about what do you look like and what do you sound like and what do you shoes are you wearing, and as if it's a shallow fashion discussion.
Right.
But the reality is, no. The reason that part matters is people look at you if you're an artist, and you need to be saying who you are without any words.
Exactly.
And look in the mirror. Does that reflect you?
Right.
Does that feel like you?
Does that feel like you?
Awesome. Then go on out.
Right.
If it doesn't, put something else on until it feels like you.
Right. And don't tell me that it feels like you when you don't feel motivated.
Yeah.
Right? Well, this feels like me when I'm tired.
Don't be when you're out in public, just try not to be the unmotivated you that's just going to polish off a bag of Sun Chips and watch Netflix for the next 2 hours because you don't want to do anything.
Right.
Right? Unless,
Right.
Again, as always,
Unless that's your thing.
Unless that's your thing.
And
Unless
that's
who
cool.
you
If
are.
that's your thing, that's great.
Right.
Right? But yeah, so it is bringing who you are to your art. Bringing who you are to your image.
Yes.
That's all about developing your brand.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And why do some brands work and other brands don't?
Some people like things more than other things.
Well,
So you can't help that.
and authenticity,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So when you are developing this image, which is all encompassing, right? Again, go back to the
Yes.
word the Quan,
Yes.
right? That means that all of it has to be who you really are,
Right.
right?
And you can't just judge yourself by the outcome of how many people
No.
are downloading music and listening to music or streaming your video or
Right.
whatever.
Well, and as you said, again, as you just said before that, some brands are bigger than others.
You might be Moxie.
Right.
You might be the soda Moxie.
Right.
And many of you don't know what the soda Moxie is.
Because you're not from New England, but that's
Right,
all right.
but it's a thing. It's a soda. And if you've ever had it, you go, no, I know what it tastes like.
right.
Does it taste
Yeah.
like Coke? No.
Yeah.
Is it awesome? I don't think so. But you know what? Some people love it.
Some people love it.
And it's been around for a long time, and it is exactly what it is.
Not everybody likes root beer.
Right? Not everybody likes ginger ale.
Right.
Not everybody likes natural ginger ale because it actually tastes like ginger.
Right.
Some people like a ginger ale that doesn't taste quite so much like ginger.
Not everybody likes soda.
Right.
Right. Some people.
And this is just soda we're talking about.
Right. But those brands still appeal to an audience.
Right.
Right. And so I know this is uncomfortable to think of yourself as a brand.
Yeah.
Right. And I get that.
Yes.
We do. And we understand
Yes.
that is. But if you are now translating brand into being your authentic self
Right.
in your life
Right.
and in your art, and remembering that when you are presenting yourself to the world, you're coming with your life experience
Yeah.
and who you are when you
Yeah.
move through the world.
And that your art and your life are being experienced by the same person and or being created.
Symbiotic is the perfect word. You said that earlier.
Okay, so
it's
yeah.
a symbiotic
It's a
relationship. They are the same.
Yeah. As we started off by saying, same.
Exactly.
Right? So it's a long game we're talking
Right.
about here.
Yeah, like everything else.
Like everything else. And it's a long game for both,
yeah.
right? We are doing this podcast because we don't want you to be a miserable musician, a miserable artist who feels alone and doesn't know what to do.
Right.
But we also don't want you to be a miserable person who's feeling alone and doesn't know what to do.
Well, yeah, remember, like we just said, if you're a miserable person, you're going to be a miserable musician.
And if you're a miserable musician, you're going to be a miserable person.
Yeah.
You are in control of those. You don't have to be the sad sack that just everybody. It's like, oh man, poor Adam.
Oh man. Oh God. Oh, did he make eye contact?
Oh God, don't look,
Just-
don't look.
don't look.
No eye contact, no eye contact.
Do me a favor. Just text me in a minute, so I have to leave.
Oh, sorry, dude, I gotta go. Yeah. You don't have to be that person.
You don't need to be.
You can be happy and joyous and creative and
Yeah.
successful.
Or look, if your brand is that you're a bummer, that's fine,
Yes,
right? There's room for that out there too.
certainly. And there are people that appeals to.
Yeah.
And but be authentically a bummer. Be your kind of bummer.
And do it intentionally,
And do it intentionally. Exactly.
right?
Because remember, you got this.
We got your back.